Hello, guys. My name is Nicholas Earl, and welcome back to another edition of Baseball Talk with your Earl brothers. And today, we did in our last video, we did 5 teams that'll win more games in 2026. Here's five teams that'll lose more games in 2026. We started with a positive. Now let's get some negative here. One thing that I noticed with all 5 of these teams is they won 90 plus games in 2025, and they're just teams I expect to regress a little bit compared to what they were last year, and things along those lines. My one honorable mention for this video is the Chicago Cubs. They won, I believe, 90 or 91 games last year. I think they'll probably be more around that 86 to 87 win team. So that's just one team that I have that looking at it, I think will not win as many games in 2026 as they did in 2025. Let's get it started with yes, the Philadelphia Phillies, 96 wins in 2025. Let's talk about it. They went 26 and 21 in one-score games, and this is a year that looks like, according to projections, which were half a game different. Fangraphs has them at 86 and 76. Pacoda has them at 85.5 wins. A 10-game drop-off compared to what they did last year. And I think that makes sense. Let's take a look at what the Phillies have done this offseason, and that is re-sign Kyle Schwarber, re-sign JT Realmuto, and sign Adolis Garcia, who was who was non-tendered. They lost Ranger Suarez in that rotation, and we don't know the status. We don't have a clear status of Zach Wheeler heading into the season as well, which leaves their rotation to Sanchez, Luzardo, Nola, who didn't look great last year, Taijuan Walker, and Andrew Painter, who is unproven in the major leagues. I do think Andrew Painter will have some impact with the Phillies in 26, but do I trust him right off the rip as the 5 starter? Sure. But this is the Philadelphia Phillies team that won 96 games last year. But I thought last year when they got eliminated by the Los Angeles Dodgers, that shut the door on their championship window. And I do see a massive step back this year. And I think my bold take for the MLB season is that the Phillies missed the playoffs in general. Um, this is a team that they're getting older. That core is only getting older. Kyle Schwarber is 33. Bryce Harper is 33. Douglas Garcia is 33. JT Realmuto is 35. Bryson Stott's 28. Marsh is 28. Bohm is 29. Trey Turner's 32. You look at that rotation now. Nola's 32. Walker is 33, but I mean the other guys are under 30 years old. Wheeler's 36, probably when he returns from injury. And I just don't expect much from this Philadelphia Phillies team. They'll probably be a wild card team at potentially, but I see this as a team that takes the big step back this year because I thought they could have done way more in the offseason instead of running it back with the same guys and getting a year older. So I just thought Phillies, I see them as an 85, 86 win team, which would probably be maybe good enough for a wild card spot. But I think that some other teams in the National League East will win more games. Next team, the Milwaukee Brewers, 97 wins in 2025. They did have a solid 28 and 20 record in one-score games, and the projections have it spot on with not spot on, but the projections are basically the same on both sides I looked at. Fangraphs has them at 81 and 81, and Pacoda has them at 81.1 wins. So they have them as a 500 baseball team, which who am I to doubt this Milwaukee Brewers team though? And they can win 90 games in this video. This would be still a correct opinion on this team that they'll take a step back. But that rotation will be led by Woodruff and Mazeroski. They traded away Peralta, but I think Brandon Sproat will probably be in that rotation soon. If not, he's the potential long man. And they have other guys like Priester and Patrick and Henderson who are solid arms that they spawn out of nowhere. So I think the Brewers will be fine on the pitching end. Their lineup is a very Brewers lineup: Churio, Terang, Contreras, Yelich, Vaughn, Frelick, Rengifo, Mitchell, Ortiz. For me, this is just saying they're not going to win 97 games in 2026, and that even though they do play in an easier division than NL Central, I see them see them in the 80s, some range. This is a team that absolutely can come back at the end of the season and be like, wow, they won 94 games again and they won the NL Central. But this also could be a team that we'd be like, wow, that's the team that took a major step back and finished 500. So Brewers, I think, take a step back here in 2026. The Padres, they won 92 games in 2025. I think this team takes a pretty significant step back. They went 30 and 23 in one score games, and the projections do not like this team. Fangraphs has them at 79 and 83. Pacoda has them at 80.4 wins, a major step back. And there's a lot of uncertainty with this San Diego Padres team. Whether or not this team's going to get sold or not is another big thing. But they lost Dylan Cease in the offseason. And it's just a team that they're running it back, and the core is basically all 30 plus, other than Jackson Merrill and Fernando Tatis by the time the season gets started, because Gavin Sheets is 29.8 years old on Fangraphs. It says he'll probably be close to 30 by the time the season starts. And it's just an aging core that, I mean, I think takes a step back in this pitching rotation. Michael King, Nick Pivetta, who I think takes a step back. Joe Musgrove, who we hope could stay healthy. Randy Vasquez, who I think will throw a above 5 ERA, who could be a DFA candidate or a release candidate by the All-Star break. And German Marquez, who has really struggled over the last few years. I do not like this rotation in the slightest for the San Diego Padres. Is absolutely not even close to be able to compete with the Dodgers. I think this is probably a third place team in the division, because I can see the Diamondbacks or the Giants jumping them. I am not a fan of the San Diego Padres heading into 2026. Another team that I'm not a big fan of heading into 2026, because this feels very Phillies-esque, the New York Yankees. I do not think win 94 games in 2026. Now, they were only 23 and 22 in one score games, but projections do have them falling back a little bit. Fangraphs has them at 87 and 75. Pacoda has them at 88.2 wins, which, don't get me wrong, the Yankees are probably still a playoff team. Now, do they win the division? I don't think so. Now, who wins the division? Good luck. Good luck trying to figure that one out. Because the Red Sox are going to be very good this year. The Blue Jays can still be very good this year. The Yankees can still be very good this year. The Orioles can take a step up this year. The Rays are the Rays. So you never know. This is a very cutthroat division. And saying the Yankees don't win 94 games this year, I don't think is a huge stretch. Now, with that, with their lineup heading into opening day, Max Fried, Cam Schlittler, Will Warren, Ryan Withers, and Luis Heel. Not a huge fan of that back end of the rotation. I like Schlittler. He looked amazing last year. And Max Fried, I think, is an overall very solid pitcher. The only problem is Garrett Cole's injured to start the year. Carlos Rodon's injured to start the year. Clark Schmidt's injured to start the year. Volpe is hurt as well. Not that Volpe's that big of a deal. And it feels like they just ran back the same team that they did last year, because they re-signed Cody Bellinger. They re-signed Trent Grisham on the qualifying offer, and that's about it. They didn't really go out and acquire anybody through free agency. They didn't really. They made the trade for Ryan Weathers. Other than that, it's the same team running it back, and it's another team that is potentially getting older. I mean, Judge is going to be 34 this year. Stanton's 36. McMahon's 31. And this is, I think the window is starting to close potentially on an Aaron Judge World Series roster. So the Yankees, I think, are a team that take a step back in 2026. Final team that'll take a step back in 2026. The Toronto Blue Jays. It just felt like everything went right for this team last year, and I was very high on them heading this year. I said they would be a playoff team. I said they would be a team to watch out for that could make the playoffs and be sneaky, and that's exactly what they were. They also got career years out of George Springer, out of Adam Barger, out of Ernie Clement. Now, they did make some additions in the offseason. I really like the Dylan Cease move. I like the Kazumo Okamoto move. I think that he could be a pretty solid player on that roster, and he won't have a ton of pressure there. Cody Ponce will be interesting to see in that rotation. And Trey Savage in a full year will be so much fun to watch for the Toronto Blue Jays. But is this team a 94-win team in 2026? I don't know. They went 27-20 in one-run games. Fangraphs had them projected at 86-76. Pacoda does have them winning the AL East at 83.6, 89.3 wins. So I do think they take a step back, but not a huge step back there. But that is all 5 teams for teams that'll lose more games in 2026. We got the Phillies, the Brewers, the Padres, the Yankees, and the Blue Jays. That's going to do it for this one. Thank you guys as always for watching. Catch you next time.